Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make a needle book. You're going to get to use felt, and there's some really great tips that you can use for felt that help you be more successful. Here's some samples. So this is the simple book that you're going to make. It has a design on the cover. I call this white piece a plate, and then there's some blanket stitch or buttonhole stitch on the edge, and the rest is done with running stitch. So this is the basic project that you're going to make. If you wanted to get some advanced skills going, you can make something like this where you have pockets on the inside, pockets on the outside. We're going to keep our needles in it, or pins. This one has multiple pages and a pocket. So you can do something like that. And this one, the bee's wings are not stuck to the plate part. So your first step is that you're going to have to think about a design. I really would like you to use your imagination before you go to the internet or Pinterest. Just start sketching out about 10 or 15 ideas of what you think it might look like. Think about colors. I have lots of colors that I'm going to send home to you, or you can go get at the store, okay? So let's start there with step one. So basically on your paper, you're just going to really take pencil to paper and start sketching out some ideas. So whatever it might be, you can draw the hearts, or like on this one was the word love, obviously the elephant. The letter A was from when I was watching Pretty Little Liars all the time. And the first part you're going to need to do is this plate, right, that's on the front of the elephant. So the white piece is going to be your first step. So you're going to draw whatever is the yellow or whatever color goes on top. That's what you're going to draw out. You can draw the whole thing entirely. You know, you can even add the fake stitches on the side or whatever. But whatever it is you're going to do on the front, just start getting down some ideas. This is your first step. You are going to turn in your drawing page. You're going to take a picture of it and submit it. So get about 10 to 15 drawings out before you decide on which one you're going to do. Here's a couple more designs that students have made over the years. They're very, very cute. And I decided I'm going to go ahead and work with the peace sign for today. So what I did is I picked out these colors of felt, and remember, you have to pick out a plate, right? And the plate is the white piece. So the way I'm going to plan this is that it'll be a dark purple peace sign onto a light purple plate, and the book itself, the part that's pink on this one, will be this blue. So that's the way I'm going to do it with that design. Alright, so the next step is you're going to have to cut and mark your pieces. So I'm just going to start out cutting 2 pieces for the front, right? And then I'll deal with my book pieces later. So this will be the white piece, this will be the plate, and then the peace sign is going to be in yellow. So the next step is to mark, and you can use chalk, you can use pencil, or you can use this great Frixion pen by Pilot. These are erasable by heat. Even just a little bit of iron will erase them. Please do not use Sharpie, okay? Just whatever will show. Like for example, on this dark, the chalk shows very easily. And then it will brush away later, or you could turn it upside down and then it won't show, right? So I'm going to start here with my big shape. Now I have shapes in the center, and don't worry too much about the scrappy cutting right now, because after I sew felt, I go in with these little sharp scissors and trim everything up nice and neat. You can see how finely detailed the tail is even. All of that nice, neat trimming was done after with tiny, sharp scissors. Okay, so I have my peace sign I'm going to put right there. I think I need to make it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go kind of gently with that curve. And long strokes with the scissors. So open the scissors all the way and you'll get straighter cuts. If you just open a little bit, you'll get little tiny chops all the way along. That's perfect. So the next thing is I want to cut out these sections here. So you can mark it. If you want to just cut freehand, you can go ahead and cut freehand. I cut freehand a lot. And then the way I cut into the center is I'm going to fold it in half and snip just a little. So now I have a hole and I can go around and cut. Okay, stop. Okay, these are the needles that I really like to use, embroidery needles. They have a larger eye, and I can use them not just for hand sewing, but also for embroidery, but this saves me from buying multiple needles. You're gonna need a few pins, and then I have some thread. So I'm gonna show you using black thread, but normally I would pick a thread that would be invisible. Right, so I would do the black on the black, or if I want it to show, I could do the black on the purple. Grays and tans are very nice because they're fairly neutral. It will not show up on this, so I'll probably end up using the gray. For this design, I'm going to use pins to hold it in place. To apply a pin, it goes down and back up. And it went through all of the layers, okay? So just like on this one, I try not to pick it up also. I try to pin while it's flat on a surface. I touch the table, I feel it hitting, and come back up. And the pins lay flat. So that'll hold it in place while I work. For this one that's a little more complicated, I'm going to use a little bit of a glue stick. Okay, so the next step is you're going to need to mark where you'll be sewing. Now on the elephant, I just kind of estimated and went around, so you can do that. You can mark it with a ruler, or you go around the edges. It's about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. Or you can use a simple straight edge. This pen is the one that is removable by heat, the Frixion, so don't use anything that's going to last. Here, I would only use chalk or the Frixion pen. Once you've marked it, I'm going to go ahead and start sewing. I rarely like to start on a corner. I really like to start more inward. And I'm only using dark thread to show you guys. This is running stitch. So I start in between here where nothing will show. I only start on the back if it's not going to show later on. So I start here. And there's a knot that will secure it all, obviously. And that will all get hidden in between there. That does two things. One, it will be better looking because you won't see anything. And then two, being in between those layers makes it a stronger hold, more secure. And all it is up and down, up and down. So go all the way down, and then all the way back up. All the way down, all the way back up. When you get to the corner, just think of what you want the corner to look like, right? Make it lay flat. If I pull too hard, see how it gets bubbles and bumps? Avoid that. I want it to be relaxed, lay flat, but not loose at all. So it's down through both layers, back up. You can see this on the back, but with felt, we can do it a trick way where it doesn't show on the back at all. If you just go through about halfway through the white, it's enough to secure it and also not show anything on the side. Your goal is to get your stitches to all be the same size and the same distance apart from each other. So if this were white thread, you can tell on the back it would barely show, but it's black so you can see it. I can take my pin out now, it's fairly secure. Running stitch. Down, up. When I'm ready to finish and knot it off, I'm going to go back in the in-between place down here and make a quilter's knot or a French knot right here where I loop it around and then push through. It won't really matter where I push through because the knot is there, so I can just cut it on the back and that'll be knotted. So that's your running stitch. Okay, so I'm pretty close up right now. I'm just about finished. I want to go around this last little area, but I'm all the way over here. How am I going to jump to it? So what I'm going to do is I'll go from underneath where it won't show. You can jump, I call it jumping, underneath and come out where you need to be, up to about a ½ inch. More than that, I would just tie a knot and start a new spot. But a ½ inch, you can jump to it underneath where it doesn't show. It doesn't even show on the back, the jump. Here I am at the end of my sewing. Okay, I'm gonna run out of thread or I'm finished. Either way, I have to tie a knot, right? So you can either work in between where it won't show. I'm gonna go ahead and work on the back. So I just send the thread to the back. And I can either do that quilter's knot where I wrap it around twice around the tip of the needle, right? And then push through. Even once will be enough. And I use my left hand to pull the thread a little more taut so that it stays in place, and then I can push it all the way through. I'm going to do something different here. I'm just going to cut the thread and then take the two threads and tie them just like I would my shoes or a gift or something like that. And I'm just going to tie it 2 or 3 times so it's secure. If I tie it too tight, it will show up on the other side. It will look ugly and pulled too tight. So just gently tying those once, twice, and then one more time for good luck. Cut the little extra threads. And I always like to cut flat with fabric like this rather than towards the fabric because I can easily make holes that way. The next step will be to get my backing, and this will be the pages of the book. So I've selected blue and I'm going to just set it up this way. This is not a super precise measured project. We'll get into measuring in our next project. But I'm going to set it up right about there and get my fabric scissors and just cut so that it's a little bit bigger than the piece that I call the plate, which is the light purple, right? It's just a little bit bigger. And again, don't worry too much about it being perfect because when you're finished, as you finish each section, you can go in and, like right here is a mess, I would go ahead and cut that off, or you can do trimming on felt afterwards. It does tend to move a lot while I work, so I definitely plan on always trimming after. So I'm going to set my piece up here. Same thing with the pins. Put a pin so it goes flat. And I'm going to sew this piece all the way around the edges with the same exact stitch, running stitch. This time I'm going to make sure it's a same color thread and that it doesn't show on the back. Because you can see this is the elephant one is finished. It has yellow thread, but on this side you can barely see the stitches. So that's really what you're going for, is barely visible on the inside of the book pages. So I'm going to get that sewn with a running stitch. At this time, if you want to make a pocket on the front of it, obviously leave the pocket opening there. And the next step is we'll do the book pages and we'll do this edge, okay? But go ahead and put the plate on the book itself first with the running stitch. Okay, next step is you're going to cut a piece that matches in size. And I do this just by laying one on top of the other. Scissors are flat on the table to stay straight, or long strokes with the scissors. Okay. Now for this side, you're going to have to decide if you want it. You can have this cut or folded. Like, for example, this one, the elephant, was just folded. It was one big piece that I folded. And so you see here on the edge, it's still together. It really doesn't make a difference, to be honest. Like, this one is also folded, but then this one was a cut piece. It lays a tiny bit flatter than the other ones, you can see. But as far as function or look, it's really not much difference. This one, the TC one, was folded, and the stitches are a little big, but it really matches the style, right? And then this one is, I think this is cut. Very nice. And this is also the stage. This one's definitely cut. So it does just lay a tiny bit flatter, but it doesn't make a difference. You can use the book back as two separate pieces, or if this was one whole piece, it would work also. So now you're going to have to decide if you want pockets like this one or pages, because this is where they get added in. So cut those also. You can see the pocket is just a half piece. I added a button just decoratively. Not really function there. And then the pages and the pockets will all get sewn into this edge stitch, which is called blanket stitch. So get those ready and then meet me back here and we'll do blanket stitch together, okay? Okay, let's try going on to the next step. So let's say that this is my book pages back and front. I can fold it here, or if you have the two pieces, just put them together like this, and you're going to use a pin again, just so they stay very stable. I put the pin close to where I'm sewing for that stability. Okay, and I'm going to pick a color that will really pop just so you guys can see, but you get to pick whatever color thread you want. Start on the inside where that knot will be secure and hidden on the inside. And this is called blanket stitch, okay? So lay it across like it's sleeping. And then I stab directly straight forward into my fabric. So if I'm holding it like this, I'm coming at a 90-degree angle, dead ahead, just like this. This upper one with my left hand goes around back, and then I can pull through. And it may not line up just right the first time, but you can adjust it like this with your hand, move it around, right? And finger press this the whole time so it stays smooth and flat. Let's try that again, because you're going to do it the whole way across. Stab in at a 90-degree angle. Left hand brings the back thread across. Pull through. And try to get each one of these the same distance apart from each other and the same distance from the top. Stab in, wrap it around back, pull through. Make sure it starts out sleeping. I call it sleeping across the top, just like this. So if you were going to mark your stitching line, think about where you would mark. You would actually be marking a line across here to decide how long these stitches should be. I made mine pretty big on this one just so you could see a whole lot. So if you want to mark across here. This one design is with the white on red, and the stitches are pretty small. This one is a little bit bigger. And then I have some that are even a little bit smaller. This one's nice, right? And if you put them all right up against each other, that is called buttonhole stitch. Okay, so just practice it. I would recommend getting out a practice piece just like this. This is what we would do if you were with me. Wrap it around back and pull it through. When you get to the very end, you just get that thread on the inside right here and put your knot on the inside. And then you're done. Your pages should be embedded in there. Your pocket gets embedded in there. On the one with the pocket, I went all the way around the whole edge afterwards, just so it would have a, just for style really, just for a cute look. No real function. And then with the other one that had pages and a pocket, I did the same thing again, just for a cohesive look. It wasn't really for any specific function. So that's it. You should be able to have your Neèdlebook all done at this point. If you have any questions, leave them below. Okay? Thanks for watching.